skill, and talent can be developed through hard work, good strategies, persistence, dedication, and input from others. Where focus goes, energy flows. So focus your energy on continuous learning and stop wasting time thinking about looking smart. Build resistance, build vulnerability, build courageousness, and face adversity with a smile. Become comfortable with uncomfortable. You know, the only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action.
Kristian Lavolsi, we are back. It is Wednesday. It is the hot seat. How are you going today?
I am fantastic, Simone Lord.
It always makes me nervous knowing that you have all of the eCam controls. I literally have no idea what's going to happen at any moment. So welcome to the hot seat. Now, we're not going to fluff around or anything today. We're getting straight into what we want to talk about. We're talking about money, which I think is a really, really cool topic. Let's get straight into it. Kristian, hitting you with hard facts. Today, my first question for you is, which area of your financials offer the most potential for saving money? Let's talk about where we can save. What are the things you could be looking at in your business to save cash?
What would I know? Nah, just joking. As my daughter says to me, just joking, Pa. Right. Okay. So look, the area of financial statements that offers the most potential, Simone, for saving money can actually be what is widely dependent actually on the very specific circumstances of a company. However, generally speaking, there are some areas where companies might find opportunities for cost saving, and the operating expenses is where I would normally go immediately for people. This area often has the most flexibility for cost cutting. It includes items like salaries, rents, utilities, marketing, general administrative costs. Now, if you scrutinize this part of the income statement, you can often yield potential savings through even renegotiation of contracts, right? Like subscriptions and streaming processes and even outsourcing services, okay? We started an outsourcing company 2.5-3 years ago because we saw the benefit of what it did for us, and now we have 40, 50 clients that are also getting the same immediate benefit. So if you're looking for outsourcing services, just remember you can reach out to one of us, or particularly Simone, and she can point you in the right direction. Again, we didn't just start a business for the sake of it. We solved a problem that we needed solving and subsequently went off and did it. So, and we got that from checking out our operating expenses. Cost of goods sold, the COGS, right? Companies, particularly those engaged in manufacturing or retail, might find high cost saving opportunities here. I recently did it with a client last night overseas in the US and another one in Ireland. We went through the COGS and identified 2 or 3 cost measurements. Again, better negotiation with suppliers. You can change in production methods. Can also lead there. Interest expenses. If you've got company debts, what are you borrowing it at? Some people are borrowing it. They get these wonderful emails from people, and it says, "Oh, you can have $25,000 today," and the interest rate is not a lot. Yes, it is. You're being slugged the interest up front, so that you pay the interest before you pay the loan off. So even if you decide to pay the loan off early, you get wrapped up in a mess. So going back, having a look at those, and most people can't remember what they had for breakfast. So I always say to people, go back to what you did a year ago, mate. You're going to find a lot of stuff. I only wanted Netflix. In our house, we only have Netflix, and then you start looking, and it's like Netflix, Disney, Paramount, Stan. There's like 3 or 4 others. Binge. I'm like, Lucy, what are we doing, man? Oh, I thought I'd stop them. And you know what? It ends up being $150, $200 a month. Right?
Yeah.
So, it's
between $20. You're like, it's not much. Or it's when you forget to turn the subscriptions off, right? When you just sign up for the 30-day free trial and then all of a sudden, bang, there's those extra expenses. But I think the COGS is a really great one as well, because we know that the cost of everything is going up at the moment, and it's easy just to accept that that's kind of what's going on. But knowing that we always have the power to go back and negotiate, if these are good relationships, you're having good strategies.
Yeah.
I think it's just the open conversation, right? To go back and say, hey, can we do something better, and not just go, oh, it's the cost of living, everything's going up, I just have to wear it.
No, absolutely not. And other areas is, accounts payables and receivables, look at a more efficient management system in that area, because it can save you money, collecting earlier, and paying later. They're the strategies. Inventory, this is on the balance sheet. If you've got an ineffective inventory management system, that can cost you some money, and you could look at that. So, and then there's always my favorite, taxes, right? Look at ways to cut taxes, but that's not for a conversation today. But
stationery, because if you've got an admin girl or person that loves ordering stationery, I have certainly worked in companies where the stationery bill is huge, absolutely massive. So
admin people love
admin
people love stationery. If you're listening to this on replay, #, love stationery. Simone, I don't think we've got that many people watching us. There's only a couple. We had a lot last week. Obviously our posse isn't around. Our tribe is not online. And look, it's essential to just wrap that question up. It's essential to approach cost-cutting measures carefully. Okay, as cost-cutting is one area that can often have unintended consequences. Okay. For example, cutting marketing expenses might save you in the short term, but could lead to lower leads and therefore lower sales in the long term. And it's funny, so many people try and cut outsourcing and marketing when they're the two things that actually made their business better, right? But they're not prepared to cut, the people that are in their business who are fat and lazy, and by fat I mean not like me fat, like as in, have become accustomed to being lazy, and the organization gets fat. So you got to always trim it back. An organization is like, I started training yesterday and today, so hopefully this is the beginning of a new look for me. It might take me 10 years. There's a bit to lose, but no, I'm working on getting my back from 5th percentile up to the 30s or 40s. But, again,
it's really challenging, right? Because if you love your culture and you love your people, coming to the realization that you do need to downsize into that situation, it's not easy. Definitely not on the mindset either.
I get paid very, very well to be the chairman of 5 companies for exactly that reason. They are people that have run fantastic organizations, and, some are elephants. In fact, 3 are elephants. They're very big, old companies. And, I go in to trim the fat, but at the same time, I also know where to trim. So I guess the point I'm making is, if you're a company that thinks the next couple of years are going to be in a form of transition, this is the right time to bring in an advisor, someone who's independent, who doesn't have an ulterior motive. Like even today, some of our clients on the mastermind were saying, what about a success fee type arrangement with customers? The problem with that is you can go in and that's why I asked that question. What are your benchmarks that you're working to? What are your forecasts? Because I wanted to make sure that they weren't going in to burn and churn the customer. Because I could easily go into companies and say, hey, I want to be paid 25% of all the extra profit that you make in the next year. I'm not going to bill you anything. Go and cut the absolute legs out of it, make an extra $1 million, and then get 250 grand for doing nothing. And there are a lot of CEOs out there that do that, have that kind of behavior. And as owners, you need to be really careful who you're hiring when doing that. And also accountants, they'll get really edgy at the moment with concerns over the market. I mean, you think about it. They were crying. Everyone was crying recession a year ago, and now the Reserve Bank's held again. No interest rate rise because it was always going to stabilise. It was an overinflated, hangover from all the COVID money that everybody got. And guess what? Fucking COVID money's running out. Even the companies that hoarded it, they're running out because they got fat. So it's time to trim back. but to be cautious. Okay, so there's the answer to that question. It only took 9 minutes.
I know, you said that to me before we started, that whenever we talk about money, it's never going to be a 2-minute answer.
Well, no, I think you got to give people the value. I mean, I can sit here and go, these are the 4 areas, good luck, go for it. But I think if we have to explain it, there's no point in being on these calls if we're not giving people immense value. And now I know there's 3 viewers. That's amazing. Hopefully there's 10, 15. If you're watching right now, give us a hashtag live. Come on, let us know that you're here. Write something. I don't know which platform you're watching from, but I am on my Facebook channel. And that's what I can see. So anyway, Simone, you have a second question for me. You want to give more value to our listeners? Let's go.
Absolutely. Let's give them more. All right. My second question is, what would you be preparing if you're at the point of needing financial assistance in your business? So if you're thinking, all right, I need to go and get a loan, I need to look for someone to invest in my business. Before you're even at that point, what should you be looking at in your business to make sure you're actually ready to have these conversations?
You're killing me. Simone Lord, you're killing me. I mean, this advice to anyone listening is going to be worth gold. I've done this for so many clients. I do it all the time. All right. When your business reaches a point where, say, your financial assistance is required, right? Preparation, ladies and gentlemen, preparation is key. Okay? Thorough and careful planning will not only improve your chances of securing the funding that you need, right? But it will also provide you with a roadmap for your future growth and stability. Okay? So, we recently did this for one of the companies I'm chair. We're forecasting growth, and we're building a new building, $5 million worth. And it was like, okay, well, how are we going to get the money? Where are we going to get it? At the same time, we had a downturn, right? We had a couple of major issues that occurred that we dealt with really, really well, but we got stung on the way we quoted at tender level, right? On really, really gigantic projects. And, all we did was we went through this list essentially and then went back to the bank and said, look, this is where we're at, but this is where we're going to be. And it was in line with our strategic direction. And the banks were like, this is great. Happy. Go for it. So again, be prepared. So financial statements and records, really important. Your profit and loss statement, your cash flow projection, your balance sheet, and all your tax return, including your personal ones. If you are a business owner or a director, no bank will touch you, right? Unless you have all of that stuff ready, okay? So be really, really ready for that. Don't have anything outstanding. Make sure you got a business plan and a strategy. So have an executive summary, something that's a little condensed, and it's a version of your business strategy, right? Have marketing research that supports the viability of what you're trying to do or why your business is sustainable through a tough time. Show them your marketing plan, right, on how you're going to attract and retain more customers, right? But also have a people plan, how you're going to attract and retain your people. We know that businesses that are heavy in resourcing, of human resourcing, the banks are now looking at this. Financial institutions are saying, well, hang on a minute, you can't do this on your own, right? So if you cut the legs of it, right, then have an operational plan, an overview of the business location. Okay, the logistics and also the operational costs. And then also demonstrate that you've got the long-term and short-term objectives really, really clearly articulated, okay? Think smart. Then you've got specifics about the assistance you need. Make sure you're clear about the amount that you need, okay? Be exact. Don't just say, between 1 to 2 million, right? Or between 10 to 20, right? Like, seriously, be specific. It shows more confidence. Have a detailed plan about how you're going to use it. Okay? A detailed plan on how you're going to use it. And then have a repayment plan outlining exactly how you're going to pay it back. You do the work for them. Yeah. Right? Because then they're going to say to you, oh my gosh, you're so good. I'm just going to give you money. I mean, this is how I used to just get money as a 25-year-old, 24-year-old with no assets other than money when I used to work overseas in financing and banking. Right? And started a hospitality group. I went into the bank with all of this information. And the bank's like, here's $500,000. And eventually I borrowed like $20 million. Right? Yeah. Now those days are gone. You can't just get money that easily. And I would never want to borrow money like that ever again. So that leads me to my next point. Have a risk assessment. What's your contingency plan to mitigate any risks that forthcome? What about a SWOT analysis? Keep it really simple, stupid. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. List them out for them. What about the legal documents? Business licenses, registrations, contracts, and agreements. commercial leases? What about the commercial arrangements with a partner, right? What happens if shit goes south, right? Then also, take it to the next level. Have your personal financial information ready. Go get your credit score, right? Make sure that it's there. If you've got a credit score of 100, fat chance you ain't getting a loan, right?
Yeah.
But if you've got a credit score of 800, 900, right? And then find out the trips and ticks on how to get it higher, right? Like, I haven't borrowed any money from a bank for a very long time. And my credit score is going backwards. I had a credit score in the high 900s, which is like, it's only out of 1200. And, anything over 700 and you are like, credit worthy, we'll throw money at you. My credit score fell this year down to 500.
How interesting. Why? Because they can't see that you actually.
Because I don't have any borrowings. I have nothing. So even when you're not borrowing, you're not making any repayments. So the reality of it is, and I've got a couple of little loans. Like I got a loan for like 20 grand and these are proper legit from banks. But that's it. And so I rang my bank manager. I said, hey, what's going on? He goes, yeah, I've been watching it. It's like nosediving. So he said, look, refinance your home loan. Borrow something else. Do something, because what the credit score is saying is that you're at risk all of a sudden when you actually have no risk at all, right? But also what it was is that my accountant hadn't put in or uploaded all of my tax returns, even though they were lodged. So there's a way that you upload. So all of a sudden it was thinking that, oh my God, this guy's not lodging anything. So now I believe it's back up to 750 within the matter of about 6 months. So always stay on top of it.
I'd actually never really considered that. I'd always thought that if you're debt free, that's literally the best position to be.
No. Everyone wants you to be in debt. Remember that. So the other thing is put a presentation together, put it in a pitch deck. A summarized presentation that covers all the points in a visual, engaging manner, right? Remember, you want money, you are selling it to people. Now, it's all right for me. I was heavily involved in the startup scene as the entrepreneur in resident of a Sandstone University, so I'm used to this. But that is the hot tips, and they are seriously hot tips. So that's it.
It's really going in with the confidence, isn't it? That you're not just wanting to borrow money to get yourself out of the hole. It is the projection for the future of your business and where you want to go. That's really
absolutely. And the crowd goes, wow.
All right, one more question, and lots more value, I'm sure, to give away to our audience.
I can just see this question.
I'm excited. So drop a comment in there if you're watching us live or hashtag replay. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So we've talked about how to save money. We've talked about what you need to do around financial assistance if your business needs that. Now, my third question for you is I'd love to understand from you what you think the biggest mistakes you see businesses making around their invoicing processes and bringing the money in, right? Because a lot of people have some big pitfalls around this. So Kristian Lavolsi, share with us the wealth of knowledge about invoicing and revenue and all that money coming in. What are people
dear Lord. Invoicing, ladies and gentlemen, is a critical function in every business. Okay? But it's often rife with inefficiencies, inaccuracies, and oversight that can lead to significant cash flow issues, customer dissatisfaction, okay? And even legal problems, okay? Now, while there are many pitfalls in the invoicing process, even if you have tools like Xero, MyOb, QuickBooks, right? One of the biggest mistakes that businesses actually make is a lack of systems, a lack of process, and my favorite word, a lack of consistency. And shout out, we've got 6 to 7 listeners now. This is great. Hello, everybody. Hi. Give us a wave. Give us something. Give us a love heart or a tick. So where do some of the problems arise? Well, delayed invoicing, error and inaccuracies, poor record keeping, compliance risks, customer dissatisfaction, operational inefficiencies. That's where I see a lot of the issues that I normally see. But how do you improve them? Okay, well, automate the invoicing process. Right, really simple. Invest in invoicing software that automates as much of the process and thereby reduces the chance of that human error. We use MyOb really, really well across the whole group, and my MyOb has some 45 accounts on it because they're all my clients' accounts, as well, and I go through all of their accounts. And I had someone say to me the other day, Kristian, we only made $225,000 profit this quarter. And I turned around and I said, actually, there is a problem. And he said, why? I said, we actually made $342,000, but someone appropriated the tax, right, from the previous financial year and put it in the bottom line of the revenue because you got to account for it somewhere. But when you do your management accounts, it comes off. And they're just like, how do you know that? I said, because I went in there the other day, I had a look. I just didn't bother telling you. And they're just like, how do you know everyone's business like that? I said, I just remember. I care so much that I like to know the numbers, right? So that's really important. The other thing is standardize your invoicing format. So even us, we're a group of companies. We have a standard invoicing system. I mean, shit, you're about to finalize a standardized calendar system so that we can scan, right? By the way, all our listeners out there that don't know, congratulations. Simone Lawn is now the general manager of the Kristian Lavolsi group of companies. Right? I'm not sure why we've called it that when it's really a whole bunch of standalone people with some amazing business partners that I have. They are all little people, but they are fabulous, right? And big shout outs to our team in Manila who have been working tirelessly for the changes that are forthcoming for us. So and very well deserved, says Belinda Paris. Belinda never ever misses these lives, and Belinda, I'm super proud of you. And yes, you're right. Yes, Simone Lord has deserved it. She loves the pressure and the high pressure stakes. So that's great. Look, the other thing is that you can regularly update client information. So important. Lots of people forget their existing clients. They don't update the inputs. And then when you have to go and chase people up, it's like, hey, Maria and Marika and Johnny, they're no longer here. It's like, what's going on? Right? So doing that setup payment.
Streamlining those accounts emails instead of having personal employees' names on the invoicing standard terms and things.
So the other thing that you could do is set payment reminders, really important. Periodic audits, really important. And most importantly, above all else, train your team, right? So the lack of consistency and organization in invoicing processes is a fundamental error that I see over and over again. And what it does, it creates a domino effect that impacts the business cash flow, right? What it really also does is impacts those customer relationships, the compliance, and the overall efficiency. So adopting best practices and leveraging technology will go a long way in mitigating that risk. Simone Lord, that's your 3 questions on the dial. Whew.
That was a lot to take in. There is so much knowledge and information to take away from that on how you can really optimize the cash flow in your business. From saving in expenses, from financing into your business, and also making sure that the income is coming in, which is a massive thing. And I want to just add one more point to that is getting on the phone and calling people to ask for your money. A lot of people are actually really afraid of the accounts receivable process and asking for cash. And a lot of the times the emails just go astray in people's inbox, right? And there's not actually an issue with getting the money. You just haven't followed it up and asked for it.
I find that one, it's great. I find that one fascinating, actually.
They need to do their work on their money stories.
It's crazy. I don't have a problem collecting cash because I collect it up front.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's you want to have the secret to the most fulfilling business you'll ever have. Don't turn up and do any work for anyone unless you've already been paid. Now that doesn't necessarily work because if you come to me, I won't pay you until you've done the job. Right? Yeah. So and that's what I'm talking about, clever cash flow management. Right? So, you control your accounts receivables and payables. And I will pay, for example, we've got a cleaning company and they want to be paid every single week. I'm like, I'm not paying you every week. Send me an invoice in advance. You do a great job. I'll pay you in advance. They're like, what? I said, yeah. I said, but you're also going to give me an 8% discount for that. And they're like, sure. Well, they're holding on to my money for the whole month. So I want a marginal difference back. I do that a lot to people. I'm always like, yeah, sure, I'll pay you cash. Right? Like, it's in up front. not cash as in under the table. Right? Wouldn't be promoting that on here. But I pay people cash, like it's in up front, and I ask for a discount. Like I walk into a store, right? If I'm making a high end purchase, even David Jones, if I'm spending $3,000-$4,000 on something, I say, okay, what's the best price you can give me? And they're like, we do a discount. I'm like, yes, you do. I said, because if I pay you with an Amex, it's 3.5%, right? Also, you got to wait for the money, right? I said, so what's the best? And they all will drop 5%. Like, just ask the question, right? Now, I never used to ask, but you know what? My clients used to always come to me, you know, especially when I used to run catering companies. They used to come to me and say, okay, Kristian, what about a discount? Right? You know, the old Italians.
They ask you with the accent as well.
Oh, they used to, hey, Cristiano, why not do you give me a beautiful discount? I bring you 300 people, right? You just look after them. And I'd be like, and I was too stupid at the beginning of my career. I would like just go, yep, sure. And then they hit me up for another discount after the function because they were paying after. So me being me, I said, I put up the price $5 before they'd walk in, right? Then I'd give them a $5 discount. So they thought, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I'd make them pay up front for the luxury. Now they could never ask me, and they all walked out happy ever after. Yeah. I mean, the best compliment I ever got when doing weddings for people was doing siblings. Because most brides don't want to get married in the same venue that a friend or someone else did. But people would come back because the parents would say, Kristian look after us. He good boy. I used to love it. And I still walk around sometimes, and if I go to certain places, and people go, you know, you did my daughter's wedding. You did such a great job. I'm thinking, man, that was like 20 years ago. And I'll never forget my grandmother when she asked me to take over that business. She always said to me, she goes, you want to become somebody, do people's weddings. And she'd been doing them her whole life. And it's one of the most rewarding things, especially if you love food and wine and all the atmosphere. But, mate, let me tell you, cooking for 400 Greeks and Italians in a room, doing 5-course menus, that shit is hard work, right?
Yes.
You know, and people always say to me, Kristian, you know, I can't believe... I said, that's where I learned to work under pressure and to be a perfectionist in many ways. You know, you got to get it done, and you got to do it well, man. You got these people who, you know, if you haven't made the Italian sauce the right way with the braciole, right, which is like this veal cutlet stuffed roll that you put, you know, and then people used to tell me, "Is this vegetarian?" I'm like, "I'm a wog. Do you think this vegetarian?" And I actually used to have a vegetarian sauce running, but it was quite funny because our staff would say to people, "Vegetarian." The chef's Italian, right? And they'd be like, "But I put it down as my dietary." Don't worry, we've got you covered. But it was just one of those things, right? But I look at those days, and I think that's where we learnt cash flow management at the highest level, because you know we would do weddings, and weddings were 50, 60,000 in food and beverage. Like, it was big money, and we'd do 3 a week in a small family business, do corporate functions, and it was money coming in. But for us, the advantage was I'd have all this money coming in, getting paid before the event. I'd have 30-day trading, right, on my accounts. And the challenge with that was if you started to use your money to fund other projects, right? Yeah. And so that's why now when I work with clients, I say to them, "Boy, this business's money is this business's money." I had a phone call from a client 2 weeks ago, and they said, "Kristian, I need your help. I need $250,000. I'm like, "Why?" "I've just logged into your account. You've got money, you know." And they're like, "I bought a house, and I used the company money, and now I've got a cash flow problem." And I'm like, what the hell did you just do? And I'm like, "Mate, when the hell are we going to find $250,000 in the bank?" And he needed the money now. And eventually we got it. But I'm just like, "Mate, what are you doing? This is now a problem that's going to linger around for a year or so until we make that money back." So be really careful with how you do that. And yes, Belinda Paris, you're correct. If you don't ask, you don't get.
100%. And I really feel like this whole episode, the undertone for me is confidence. Is having the confidence to understand your money, to spend it, to make it, to ask for it. That's what my biggest takeaway is while you're I'm going to wrap this up before you give away way too much value, like we already have, like we always do on these hot seat episodes. I'm really pumped. We are both going to be in Melbourne tomorrow afternoon, prepared for our quarterly Momentum Evolve event. So we're going to be masterminding on Friday. We're teaching all about marketing strategy in our skills day on Saturday. We've got a big couple of days ahead of us.
It's going to be massive. Big day. I've got like 14 client calls tomorrow. And then I've got to jump on a plane.
Yeah.
And then we hit Melbourne at 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
And then start at 6 in the morning.
Yep.
And do 10, 12-hour days. It's going to be epic. Going to love it. It'll be fantastic. So can't wait to see the clients that have come down. We've got about half of them. A bit more than half. No, less. A bit less than half. So it's going to be epic. And obviously not our overseas clients. But it's going to be huge. Writing marketing strategies. So...
I know Belinda won't be there, but we are seriously, it's got to be the next quarter. We'll have Belinda.
It's going to be epic. So, Simone, see you tomorrow in Melbourne.
Live tomorrow, which is very exciting. Thank you to everyone for joining us on the hot seat. We would love to hear your feedback and comments, so please drop them in. #replay. Any questions, any comments, any feedback of your personal experiences, would love to hear them. So thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. This has been The Hot Seat with Kristian Lavolsi. We'll be back next Wednesday at 5 p.m.
Working with Kristian is a game changer. Hi, I'm Adrian Lee from GrowthLink Coaching and Consulting. I started working with Kristian in August 2020 as his LinkedIn growth consultant. We worked together on his LinkedIn brand for about 12 months before becoming business partners in Growth Outsourced late 2021. Kristian is a hidden genius. He helped me break through a significant financial target by restructuring my growth consulting online business offer. I don't know of any one person who can give you so much focus, clarity, and structure to live your purpose and get shit done. He holds you accountable to your words and gives you the tough love when you need it. I love his no BS approach to business and life. Everyone needs a Kristian Lavolsi in their life. Do whatever you have to work with Kristian. This is just the beginning for us, and I am super pumped to continue growing together. Thanks again, Kristian.